My dear ones, today I am going to show you something that most people never realize. How people actually perceive you. How your authority is built or silently destroyed. And how every single day, without noticing it, you give away your money, your happiness, and your power just by talking too much. Stay with me, because this will change the way you speak forever. And at the very end, I will reveal something that most people carry with them every day. Something that quietly blocks money luck and real happiness from entering their life. And without that final piece, nothing else will work. Let us start with something simple, a phrase you use every day. How are you? I am fine, thanks. It seems harmless. It is not. It is a social ritual, but also a psychological trap. And if you do not understand how it works, you are constantly leaking energy, information, and status. Let me explain this from a psychological standpoint. Human beings are not just communicating, they are constantly measuring each other. Every question is rarely just a question. It is a probe, a test, a subtle positioning move. When someone asks you something personal, especially about money, lifestyle, or success, they are not collecting information. They are trying to locate you on their internal hierarchy, above them, below them, or equal. And the moment you give a precise answer, you give them power. So here is your first technique. Never, under any circumstances, give exact numbers to people who are not deeply trusted. We call this the technique of blurred numbers. Understand this clearly. We live in a world where people are obsessed with counting what is not theirs. How much did you pay for that car? How much was your renovation? What is your salary now? They do not care about the number itself. They care about what the number means about you. Now watch what happens when you answer honestly. If the number you give is too low in their eyes, they will instantly devalue you. They will think it is cheap and low quality. And just like that, your joy gets contaminated by their perception. But if the number is too high for them, you awaken something far more dangerous: envy. They start thinking, where did they get that money? What a waste! They overpaid. And behind that comes irritation, comparison, and silent resentment. A precise number activates a calculator in someone else's mind. They start estimating your finances. They start measuring your life. They start deciding what they can ask from you, or how they should feel about you. You create tension where none existed before. This is why blurred numbers protect you. They make you untouchable. You stay neutral, unreadable, and unprovocable. You give no hooks, no entry points, and no emotional leverage. Instead of giving an exact number, you say it was around market price, or something in that range, or I got a good deal. Soft, vague, closed. The conversation ends without damage. And this is not about being secretive. It is about understanding human psychology. Information is not neutral. Information is positioning. And when you overshare, you lose control over how people see you. But listen carefully. Even if you master silence, even if you learn to blur numbers, even if you become disciplined in your speech, there is still one thing. One daily mistake, a quiet, invisible habit that cancels everything. And the worst part is, you carry it with you every single day, right now, in your pocket or in your bag. And it is silently blocking money opportunities and real happiness from reaching you. In the next part, I will show you exactly what it is and why it is far more dangerous than anything you say out loud. Second technique. Listen to me very carefully, because what I am about to say goes against everything you were taught in school and everything trendy coaches repeat online. We were always told to chase success, be number one, stand on the pedestal, let everyone see your victory. But no one tells you that the pedestal is the most exposed and the loneliest place in the world. The second technique is called success amortization. This is the art of neutralizing other people's envy before it turns into something that hits you. Let us break down what actually happens in people's minds when you bring them good news. You get promoted, or you buy a new spacious apartment, or your child wins a prestigious competition. You are flying high, you feel full of joy, you want to share. You go to your friends or colleagues and you pour that happiness onto them. And what do you see? Yes, they smile, they say congratulations. But if you look closely, if you really look into their eyes, you will see a shadow, a microsecond flash of discomfort. Why? Not because they are bad people, not because they do not like you, but because your success becomes a mirror where they see their own gaps. Your promotion reminds them they stayed in the same place for years. Your new home reminds them of their limitations and pressure. This happens subconsciously. In that moment, a subtle tension appears between you. Call it tension, call it envy, call it whatever you want. If you do not neutralize it, it will come back to you. Colleagues will start whispering and creating friction. Friends will call less. Relatives will suddenly remember old grievances. Success amortization is psychological safety. It is how you ground that tension before it grows. How does it work? Very simple. Every time you share a success, you immediately add the price you paid for it. You balance the picture. You slightly dim the brightness so it does not blind people around you. People can accept your success when they understand the cost behind it. They relax when they see effort, pressure, responsibility, or trade-offs. They think you achieved something, but it came with weight, and that restores balance. Envy shifts into neutrality or even quiet understanding, and that is exactly what you want. You want calm around your happiness. That is how amortization works. Do not be afraid to downplay. Do not be afraid to seem a little tired or slightly burdened by problems. This is a small price, a social tax you pay for the right to be successful and happy. Remember this, if you want your ship to sail smoothly, you do not raise all the sails at once. Otherwise, the storm of other people's opinions will flip it over. Third technique, the grey stone method. In every life, there are emotional vampires. This is not mysticism, this is psychology. You know them. It can be a constantly dissatisfied relative, a toxic boss, an envious friend, or simply someone who lives on gossip. They feed on your emotions. It does not matter which ones, anger, tears, or even excitement. Their only goal is to pull you out of balance, to break your composure, to make you react. When someone asks you something like, "When are you finally going to lose weight?" or "You will lose your partner," they are not concerned about your well-being. They want to see your reaction. They want to see you blush, hesitate, defend yourself, or snap back. In that moment, they are feeding on your energy. If you start arguing, you lose. If you start crying, you lose. If you try to prove something, you lose twice. You handed them control over your emotional state. The grey stone method teaches you to become invisible in plain sight. Imagine a grey stone on the side of the road. It is dull, cold, uninteresting, neutral. You do not want to kick it, you might hurt yourself. You do not want to take it with you, it has no value. You do not argue with it, you simply pass by. Your task when dealing with toxic people is to become that stone. Become the most boring person in the room. Stop giving emotional reactions completely. Someone tries to provoke you and you respond flatly without expression. Maybe. Someone tries to pull you into conflict and you say, "I hear you." Someone asks something personal with an edge and you shrug and say, "Everything is the same." The point is not silence. Silence can look like offense, and offense is also emotion. The point is that your responses are emotionally empty. They try to bite and there is nothing there. No reaction, no energy. After a few attempts, they lose interest and move on to someone else. You stay intact. You do not spend your nerve. You keep your internal balance. This takes practice because inside you will feel pressure building. You will want to respond, to correct, to put them in their place. But understand this clearly. The strongest response to a provocateur is complete indifference. Who wants to bite a stone? Remember this, my dear ones. You are not obligated to be convenient. You are not obligated to participate in someone else's performance. Your energy belongs only to you. If someone tries to pull you into emotions, turn off the lights in your house. Nobody is home, only grey stones. Fourth technique, returning the compliment. Let us talk about compliments. Yes, you heard that right. Those sweet words we crave, the ones we dress up for, work ourselves to exhaustion for, and try so hard to earn. We are used to thinking that if we are praised, then we are loved. If someone says something nice, they must wish us well. But my experience shows the opposite. Excessive praise is often the beginning of the end. The fourth technique is called returning the compliment. It is the art of not taking on extra weight and the skill of working with reflection. Let us break down how this works. When someone gives you a compliment, especially if it is loud, overly enthusiastic, or unexpected, your guard drops. Criticism makes you tense and defend yourself. Flattery makes you relaxed. You soften, you smile, you open up. Yes, praise me, I deserve it. And in that exact moment, when you are open and unprotected, bad energy enters you. Because behind the words, "What a beautiful home you have," there is often a hidden thought. Why do I not have that? Behind, "You are so lucky with your partner," there is often bitterness of their own loneliness. The person may not even realize it consciously. They smile at you, but their subconscious is sending something else. This is what people call being affected by praise. Have you noticed this before? You talk about your health and suddenly you get sick. You say your child sleeps perfectly, and that same night everything changes. This is not mysticism. You absorbed heavy energy wrapped in beautiful words. The technique of returning the compliment protects you from carrying that weight. You do not agree with the praise because that creates pride, and pride makes you vulnerable. But you also do not deny it, because that puts you into a victim position and diminishes you. You act like a skilled player, calm, precise, controlled. You redirect the energy back. You send the focus away from yourself and back to the person who gave the compliment. You make them the source of that goodness. If it was sincere, it strengthens them. If it carried envy, it returns to them without harming you. This is clean protection. That is how it works. When someone tells you you are a genius, you respond, "It is thanks to having wise teachers and people like you around me." When someone tells you, "How did you lose so much weight?" you respond with your kind words and support, "I stay on track." When someone tells you your children are amazing, you respond, "They are simply drawn to good people like you and learn from them." Redirect the focus. Do not keep praise for yourself. Dissolve it into the space or return it to the person. Become transparent to flattery. If the person is kind, they will feel uplifted by your response. If they carry negativity, they will feel the weight of it themselves. In both cases, you remain protected and keep what is yours. Fifth technique, the closed mouth rule during illness. My dear ones, what I am about to say now touches the most valuable thing we have. Not money, not career, not even reputation. Your life itself. Your health. The fifth technique is called the closed mouth rule, and it is written not in theory, but in hard experience of people who spoke when they should have stayed silent. When you get sick, when your body weakens, when you are in a hospital or lying at home with a fever, what is the first impulse? You want comfort. You want to be taken care of. You want to call someone and say, "I feel terrible. The doctor said this. The tests look bad. I'm scared." This is a natural impulse, but it is dangerous. Listen carefully. Illness is a moment of vulnerability. In normal condition, you are stable and protected. Negative thoughts from others have little effect. But when you are sick, you are sensitive. You are open. You are like a system under stress. And instead of protecting that state and focusing on recovery, you start broadcasting it. You tell people you are weak. Why is this dangerous? 2 reasons. First, pity. People confuse pity with care. It is not the same. Pity reinforces weakness. When someone says, "Oh, you poor thing, this is so unfair. You are so young and already struggling," they are not giving you strength. They are reinforcing the idea that something is wrong with you. Recovery becomes harder when multiple people hold that image of you. It anchors you in a lower state. Second, hidden negativity. Not everyone around you wants the best for you. Some people feel satisfaction when they see weakness, even if they do not show it openly. When they hear about your condition, they register it, and that signal comes back to you. It increases pressure, exactly when you need stability. You become visible as vulnerable. The closed mouth rule is simple. When something is wrong, you reduce exposure. You limit who knows. You focus your energy inward. Until you recover fully, only your doctor and the person directly helping you need details. For everyone else, you are resting or unavailable. This is not about isolation. It is about controlled recovery. You protect your state so your system can return to balance without interference. Illness is an intimate process. It is a conversation between your body and your inner state. Outsiders are not needed in that conversation. If something hurts you, speak to your doctor and you speak inwardly. But you do not broadcast it. You do not post it publicly, and you do not complain to everyone around you. When someone says you look pale, "Are you sick?" you answer simply, "I did not sleep well. Everything is fine." Do not accept pity. Do not let others into your private space. Recovery belongs to those who can keep their vulnerability contained. Become whole again. Close the breach with silence, and your body will respond. 6th technique. Refusal without justification. We are now talking about a condition that affects most well-behaved and agreeable people. It is the need to be convenient. It is the habit of saying no in a way that invites pressure. The 6th technique is called refusal without justification, or what I call a clean refusal. Think about what happens when you try to decline something you do not want to do. Someone asks you for money. A boss asks you to work on your day off. Relatives want to visit when you are exhausted. What does the average person do? They say no, but immediately attach a long explanation. They start justifying. They think it sounds polite. They think it softens the response. In reality, it weakens their position. The moment you add a reason, you place yourself in a defensive role. You signal that your decision is open for evaluation. You give the other person material to push back. If you say you cannot lend money because you have expenses, they will suggest waiting. If you say you cannot work because of plans, they will propose alternatives. Your explanation becomes an opening for negotiation. It is not protection. It is exposure. You either end up inventing more reasons or giving in. Both outcomes reduce your self-respect, and the other person senses it. They sense hesitation. They sense that pressure might work. Refusal without justification requires clarity, but gives you control. No is a complete statement. It does not require support or defense. You are allowed to decline because it is your time, your resources, your life. When you say a calm, firm no, or you say, I am not available, and then you stop speaking, something shifts. You become stable. There is nothing to argue with, no detail to challenge. The conversation has no leverage point. This creates respect. People recognize clear boundaries. They adjust. Remember this, my dear ones. If you want people to accept your success, you must show that it comes with weight. Find your stone. It can be high taxes, difficult management, constant pressure, or even small, everyday inconveniences. Give people a reason to feel balance, and they will allow you to remain successful without resistance. A successful person who also carries some burden feels safe to others. Now the most important part, the one I warned you about. Right now, each of you carries something that quietly destroys your foundation. It is your phone. We live in a time where people believe that if something is not shared, it does not exist. You start building something and immediately show it. You reach a milestone and immediately post it. You reveal things that are not yet stable. Understand this principle clearly. What is not complete should not be exposed. While something is still forming, it requires protection. When you announce plans instead of results, you release the energy of that process. You already feel the reward through attention and reactions. Your motivation weakens. The result becomes less likely. This is not mysticism, it is behavioral mechanics. Attention replaces execution. Validation replaces discipline. The rule is simple. Speak only about what is finished, stabilized, and real. Show outcomes, not intentions. Build first, reveal later. Until then, keep your focus contained. Now, let us summarize. We covered that excessive talking creates vulnerability. We learned not to give exact numbers. We learned to soften visible success by adding balance. We learned to remain neutral with difficult people and to redirect praise instead of absorbing it. We understood that illness requires privacy and that refusal does not need justification. The deeper meaning is simple. What is full remains quiet. What is empty makes noise. When you protect what matters, you strengthen it. When you expose it too early, you weaken it. Become steady, contained, deliberate. If this resonated with you, take action. Subscribe and stay connected. And in the comments, answer one question. Have you ever shared a plan too early and watched it fall apart? What happened? Share it so others can recognize the pattern. This was Always Yours, Katara Lilith, in the mind I live in for Soft Power Society. Thank you for being here. I will see you next.